When you're buying properties, you want to factor in the worst case scenario. Don't hold on to this number in your head, I gotta make 50, I gotta make 40. Are you gonna hold it as a rental so you can make the money for future appreciation? Or are you going to just let it go for the price and just walk away? Common mistakes to avoid making while trying to flip properties. Now this applies to anywhere in the state that you're trying to flip property. Now what I'm gonna go over in this video today is to help you understand how to get into the space and avoid making these common mistakes. Sometimes these things are overlooked because we're so caught up in the excitement and we just want to get into our first deal. Now this video is geared towards new investors or people who have done 1 or 2 deals and they want to kind of get a better understanding and how to actually make sure they do the next deal successful. But if you're watching this video, I'm going to kind of give you some steps that you're going to follow along the way. That's going to help you and make this process easy. Now there's a lot of information on YouTube, so thank you for tuning in to watch my video. I appreciate that. I'm going to try to make this video short, sweet, and simple and easy for you to understand. And if you have any questions or concerns, drop down a comment below. Also, if you have a question about house flipping, please feel free to put it there. I'll make sure to respond to your comments. I try my best to respond to any comments that's put on any of my videos. So let's get this video started. The 3 things we're going to talk about in this video is buying the property, the analysis, and the exit strategy. We're going to break down these 3 things, which are the fundamental key things when flipping a property. You have to understand these processes in order to be successful to make your first 30, 40, 50, even a unicorn of $100,000 profit on your deal. Buying the property, what does that really entail? There's a lot of information you can search from MLS, having a realtor find deals for you, networking with wholesalers, what to kind of basically expect when actually looking for these properties. One thing I recommend, there's a lot of resources out there for you guys to utilize that will give you a good deal analysis. Now, some of the ones that I've heard that might be of use is the ones from Bigger Pockets. Also, I have a calculator I'm gonna give to you guys to utilize to help you buying a property. So one of the key things that you want to understand when buying flips is do not buy things sight unseen, particularly if it's your first project. You want to get your eyes on the property. You want to go see it, feel it, and get a better understanding of the neighborhood. You want to see it, feel it, get a better understanding of the neighborhood. I'm going to say that so you guys understand that, because when you buy things sight unseen, you're relying on what the internet is telling you and what the other third parties telling you. Particularly for your first flip, it might be a grand slam. What's a grand slam? You might can make $100,000 profit, but you can also have a foundation issue that costs you $30,000 of that profit. You can also have some other things that happens with the foundation. So now you fix a foundation, but then you got all these cracks on the walls that you got to fix too as well, and that costs you $10,000 because you got to fix the cracks on the outside and then fix the drywall on the inside and then maybe re-stucco part of the house. You see how I just turned from $100,000 and now you're down to 60? Now let's say anything else happened. This is an example of what can happen on these projects. When you're buying properties, you want to factor in the worst case scenario. And this is why I want you to see it. You only buy properties sight unseen when you have experience. And what does that look like? When you've done at least 5 to 6 deals, you kind of get into the hang of things, you understand it. But for my new people, slow down, pump the brakes, take your time, do your proper analysis. It may take you longer to find a deal, but once you find the right deal and you make the money you're looking to make, it keeps that momentum. Now you're happy, you want to go look for your next deal. Now you went through that process, you understood steps A, steps B, steps C, and now you understand what to look out for. And now you can dissect your own experience and see, hey, I could have did this different, or I should have went about this differently too as well. So this is why I'm telling people, when you're buying the property, take your time. Don't buy sight unseen. Make sure you're doing the right calculations. What is your ARV? What is your after repair value? Does that even make sense? Does the neighborhood even support your comps? Have there been any other flips done in that neighborhood? These are all the things you should be asking yourself. Another plug I'm going to put in here is PropStream. PropStream will tell you how many flips have been done in the area, so you can kind of understand that. This is a part that I want you guys to take heed to, because this is the most crucial part. How you buy properties will dictate everything. If you buy it right, you can withstand the blows, or you can make more money. One of the other things to really look at when you're buying a property, avoid wood frame homes at all possible. If your area is predominantly wood frame homes, then all your contractors understand wood frame homes. But if that's not the case, avoid it for your first property. Just want to put that in. So let's get into the part where we're doing the analysis and making sure that it makes sense, right? So after you've seen the property, you understand it, you have to go on the computer and make your analysis. This is when that Excel spreadsheet is going to come in to kind of make sure you understanding the things that need to take place. So for example, you want to make sure that you're factoring in all your costs. Sometimes investors investors or new investors forget that you have certain costs that you're not factoring in. What is your actual hold cost? Like, how many monthly payments are you going to make to hold this property? Since it's your first time flipping a property, most people estimate, oh, it might take me 2 months, 3 months. No, the average time takes 6 to 8 months for a new person. So I would tell you factor in 8 months of interest payments when you're doing your numbers. So when we look at the numbers, we're figuring out, here's what we're figuring out. We're figuring out, okay, what is it gonna cost me to fix it? What is my true holding cost? What is my insurance cost? You gotta pay insurance. And is that insurance for 6 months or 12 months? I highly recommend getting a 12-month policy for new flippers. Once you figure that out, how much are you paying to have utilities? Is there any major issues to the property that you overlooked in the renovation part, okay? So you wanna make sure you're factoring these things in and don't overlook that. Sometimes investors are like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna factor in the least amount of time and I'm gonna win. It doesn't always happen like that. Talk to any person who's flipped a house, ask them, did it go as planned? And 90% of the time, they're like, no. And people who got it perfected, they probably have done countless thousands of flips. They see the things coming. You may not see that, all right? And I would highly recommend getting a coach to coach you through this process. That's something that I can do if you guys want to kind of do something like that. I coach you flip houses all the time, but I recommend doing that. The stuff you watch on YouTube, that's great. Like watching this video is great, but you have to really get into the mix. And someone who's actively in the field doing it has better insight than someone who's posted content 6 years ago who's not actively flipping. They'll have insight, but someone who's actively in it can see the active problem that take place year after year. Hope that makes sense. So as you're looking at your numbers, you're like, okay, well, I factored in my insurance, I factored in my hold costs, I factored in my rehab, I even put 10% buffer on my rehab. All right, cool. Most people overlook this. What am I paying for hard money? Okay, now your whole cost is completely different from your hard money. So you're gonna pay to borrow money, right? You gotta put all these numbers together. You're paying to get the hard money, sometimes 3 points. So that means 3% of however much you're borrowing, you're paying that for origination. Are you paying any document stamps for the transaction? I have a whole video about hard money. So if you're watching my channel, I have all videos about all these things. What are you paying for that, right? So once you factor that in, now you're closer to actually making a decision of buying the property. But don't overlook this step. You made it through finding the property, you found the right property, you made it through doing the analysis, you factor in all the expenses, all the things that could go wrong. Now let's factor in your exit strategy. This is not something for you to overlook. You need to make sure your exit strategy is on point. And if you did the first 2 right, you most likely will have a great exit strategy. If you did the first 2 wrong, you're gonna be caught with your pants hanging down and it's not gonna be good. You might even have foreclosure issues right alongside of you, okay? So what is your exit strategy? So let's say you don't flip this property and you don't make the money you want to make. Are you going to hold it as a rental so you can make the money for future appreciation? Or are you going to just let it go for the price and just walk away? So are you going to walk away from 6 to 8 months and not make any money? Are you going to use that as a lesson learned for your next project because you broke even? Now, I would say to you, this is a time where you pause and write down, if I'm going to make $50,000, let's just say something happens and I lose 10. Am I comfortable with 40? Yes. Am I comfortable making $40,000 for 8 months? Yes. Am I comfortable making $40,000 for my time and effort? Okay. So you want to make sure you figure out your exit strategy. One of the big key things on this video I want you to take is this. You have to have good credit to exit in any fashion. If you're not selling the property, listen closely, right? If you're not selling it, you're doing a refi to hold it, you're gonna have to have good credit, particularly at least 650. Because what you're gonna do is you're gonna convert that into a rental. And when you do that, you're gonna do a DSCR loan, which is a debt service cover ratio loan that will only accumulate it through what you owe in the property. So you're gonna get your money out, you're gonna rent that house out, and hopefully you make some money on cash flow and then make some money on appreciation. So you gotta factor that in. Your exit strategy needs to be 2 things. It's plain and simple. Sell or hold. The middle is a foreclosure. So you wanna make sure you have both options always accounted for. Don't miss out on this. And if you did the first 2 right, you're going to make money. And sometimes what investors overlook, how much money do you really wanna make? Like sometimes people are waiting to make the $50,000 that was in their head. They passed up an offer that they could make 35 and got out of the property. Don't overlook that. If you're gonna make 35 and you don't have to hold it for extra 2 months on the market and pay interest payments and risk somebody breaking in your property, take their 35 and go. Don't hold on to this number in your head, I gotta make 50, I gotta make 40. If you flip the house and you make $30,000, it's a win. Not only did you learn, you made money while learning. Where else do you make money while learning? Nowhere really, unless you're doing a trade school type thing, but take that as a win and go. I pray you guys guys found some value in this video and it helps someone as they're flipping. I make these videos to make sure you guys understand, because I wish I would have someone to guide me. There's not a lot of videos on the actual steps. Like I put a video on SOW, scope of work. I put a video up for hard money. I put a video on how to buy from wholesalers. I put a video up how I got almost scammed from wholesalers. My whole channel has videos on processes and steps so you can avoid making these mistakes. It's almost like me putting a whole course on YouTube, seriously. So if you found some value, comment below, reach out to us. I'm gonna put all the resources that are gonna be attached to this video in the link below. If you guys wanna hop on a call, let me know. Like I mentioned before, I'm a hard money lender, I'm a contractor in the state of Florida. I'm also an investor, so feel free to reach out. Hopefully you liked this video and you found some value to it. I'll catch you guys in the next video.